Thank you very much for having me over. I think I'm honored to be a part of TEDxEmirates Hills. Today I'm going to share a story with you and share something very personal that has been a part of my journey. This goes back to 2013. 2013, I was playing for a particular team called the Pune Warriors. And in 2013, I was all but forgotten in Indian cricket. A name that didn't augur a lot. People didn't really expect a lot from me. I was, like it says in one of those headlines, I was just a speck in the background. And at that point, I decided to go through an overhauling process. Mentally, physically, also I was in a very dark place. I've spoken about it. I was going through clinical depression, was going through a period and phase of being suicidal as well for a particular period of time. But then I decided to take stock of my life. And I said, okay, this has got to get better from here. I'm here, right at the rock bottom. The only way forward from here is going up. So let's try. So I said, okay, give it a shot. And I went down that path. And I said, okay, I really want to get to this and do this the right way. And so I decided to start with my health. And once I got there, I was like, we're going to get better from here. I lost all passion for the game. And it's not because I didn't love the game, but I wasn't enjoying it, you know. I was actually finding success in the failures of my teammates, if you know what that means. That means you've gotten to such a bad and dark place in your own life that you start seeing small successes in the failures of your teammates. And that part of me killed me. You know, owning that part of me absolutely killed me. And it was from that place that I decided that this can't go on anymore like this. This has to get better. And then when the overhauling process began in 2012, it took me a while. I started building, got better. I'll show you a picture of what I looked like in 2013. That was me in 2013. In the peak of absolute depression. And that's how dark I was, in the sense in my head. That's the dark place I was in. And then, when people wrote me off, and when people said, we don't expect anything good from him, or anything great from him, I think he'll just fade away into the sunset, or into the system that will eventually discard him. I, in the background, was slowly building, very quietly, in the shadows. I slowly started working on my fitness, started getting better, rediscovered my passion for the game. And when I rediscovered my passion for the game, I fell in love with the game all over again, which was really beautiful. And through that journey, very quietly, again, in the dark, in the background, I started building systems for myself. And today, that's what I'm going to share with you. The pillars that kind of helped me and held me in good stead to actually bringing out the best version of myself, not just in cricket, but in life. And that journey began in 2013. And this is what I'm going to be talking about today. High performance and the 5 foundational pillars and what forms consistent soul-aligned excellence. There are 5 pillars, in a sense: identity, clarity, process, integrity, and creating room. So identity, what is identity? That was me, 2012. That's what I looked like. And for me, when I said this has to stop, the first thing I did was, okay, this is where I am. Let me accept where I am and say that this is where I'm going to begin. I'm not going to look at where I'm going to go. I just want to get better than where I am today. And I set that baseline. I said, I want to get 0.5% better tomorrow. And then I took steps in that direction to be able to be 0.5% better the following day. And I did that day in and day out. Genuinely just putting one foot in front of the other in good faith. Nothing else. Just in good faith. And when you do that long enough, it compounds on itself. And that first picture to the second picture and the third picture was a matter of a year. So high performers identify who they are and they acknowledge where they are in their life first. And then they know that this is where they are, and they set a baseline for themselves and they start moving forward. And the minute they do that, it gets them to a better place. And this is something special. I don't know if you all can see it. I wish they can zoom into that picture a little bit. But this is something really personal for me. So in the previous picture, 1 year of just doing that, identifying who I am, and then setting goals for myself, I actually got to winning the Ranji Trophy and went and got selected again into the IPL with KKR. And my first season for KKR in 2014, this is the goals I set for myself. It's a little small, but I'll read it out to you. The goals for 2014 IPL was 16 matches, 650 runs, and what's written there is minimum 550 plus scores and 200 plus scores. This was the goal. It was absolutely clear that this is what I want to achieve, because I knew that if I could do this for my team, I would help my team win the championship, right? I set the goal and I forgot about it. Because oftentimes, what do? We set goals for ourselves, and what are goals really? Those are outcomes, right? But when we set goals and we start obsessing about goals, then we start chasing outcomes on a day-to-day basis. High performers don't do that. They have clear, concise goals, and then they forget about it. And that's what I did. Set the goals, absolutely forgot about it, didn't think about it after I put this down. And I can tell you, this IPL actually happened in the UAE. The first half was in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, and then we went back to India. The third, I would say, pillar is the process, the systems behind the success. So high performers do this exceptionally well. They set goals, forget about it, and then they move to the next thing. The next thing is the process. What are the steps and processes that I can set for myself that make the goals or the results an outcome of this process? So basically, you're backtracking it, right? You're reverse engineering the whole thing. That's what high performers do really, really well. And this is what you get obsessed with. High performers get obsessed with the process. The goals are set and forgotten, and then the processes are put in place, and then you obsess over them. These are some of my processes. Bat for a minimum of 15 overs and above, and then go all out without any survival mode switched on. Start with survival mode switched on. Rotation of strike every ball. Playing to the merit of the ball. Being alert and aware of the opportunities available. Getting into position early with a still head to watch the ball clearly to make good decisions. Being aware of the field every ball to take advantage when the opportunity arises. Awareness of energy levels. Now, day in and day out, at practice matches, during my visualizations, this is all I obsessed about. This was all of it. Nothing else. I never worried about 550s, 200s, 650 runs. None of that. All I ever focused and obsessed about was this process. So at practice, I was worried about rotating the strike every ball. I was obsessed about getting ready early and watching the ball clearly when the ball's being delivered from the bowler's hand. The process became integral and imperative to me. And then, sorry, this is a little out there, but I'm opening up all things that I've been through during the course of this IPL. So, integrity, an extremely important pillar of high performance. Doing the right thing even when nobody's watching. So this was during the course of that 2014 IPL. We were playing a game in Cuttack against Mumbai Indians. We were practicing a day before the match, and I got hit by a Pat Cummins Yorker at practice, and it split my big toe open. And I was in tremendous amount of pain. And everyone in the team, from the captain, from Gautam Gambhir to the physio to the team management, everyone thought, okay, he's not going to play. And I was performing well by this point in time. I said, you know what? I'm just going to play. I'm going to figure a way out to play. I sat down with our physio, Andrew Lepus, and I said, dude, I don't know what we have to do. Get me ready. I don't care how much painkillers you got to pump into me. Get me ready for tomorrow because I want to play tomorrow. So I borrowed Jacques Callis's shoes, which was a good size bigger than mine, just so that I could put my swollen foot into it. And we cut open the shoe, and so that there was room for my big toe to move around in the shoe so that it doesn't hit the end of the shoe and cause more pain because it was split right at the end. And then we put like a plastic casing so that if I get a Bumrah Yorker or a Lasith Malinga Yorker, some form of protection I'd have. And so I went on to play the game, and we won the game. And I actually won the man of the match in that game. You know, it's a lot like one of our previous speakers spoke about. Don't worry about what's going to happen. Take action and know that everything's going to be all right. Because it is going to be all right. Everything will work in your favor as long as you stay intentional and you're doing things for the right reasons. Creating room. The amazing thing about this 2014 IPL was we as a team, not just as individuals, but as a team, we went through such a topsy-turvy IPL. In the first 6 games in the IPL, we won 1. And then we went to the 7th game, and one of the 6 games was we were chasing 150 against Rajasthan Royals, and we were 121 for no loss. Gautam Gambhir and I were batting. Gautam got out, I got out, and we got all out for 140, and we lost the game. And that was our 5th loss in 6 games, in the 6th game. Yeah, 5th loss in 6 games. And so, we had to win 9 games in a row if we had to qualify and win the championship. And what we did incredibly well as a team is that we created room. Created room to fail, to grow, and to rise again. So we didn't take any failure and make it feel like it defeated us. Like genuinely, when we lost that game against Rajasthan Royals, we were like, it can't get worse than this, guys. Because we were all high-performing athletes. Champions in our own right. Right? So we knew that this can't get worse than this. So let's bring ourselves together. Let's enjoy each other's success and just have fun. And I kid you not, we took one game at a time. We stayed tight, and we created room for each other's successes and failures, and that's what we ended up doing. We ended up winning that championship, and we won 9 games in a row to end up winning that championship. And that's something, thank you. That's something that high-performing teams, high-performing individuals do really well. They create room for themselves, room to grow. You know, when we're in our own personal journeys of high performance, there are often times we fall off the horse. I'm telling you guys, falling off the horse is absolutely okay. But you know what's not okay? Not getting back up on that horse. Get back up on that horse the next time you fall. But when you do fall, don't berate yourself. Don't be rude to yourself. In fact, be kind with yourself. I promise you, kindness goes a long way. And at the end of the tournament, just before the end of the tournament, one of the things I put down as a side note to all of my goals for that season was, Robin, let your will to win be greater than any fear of failure and any doubt that exists in you. And high performers understand this. They set goals, they obsess with their processes, they have integrity when nobody is watching, they create room for themselves, but the most important part, the will to win is always greater than any fear of failure or doubt. And in the end, I'm at fulfillment. We not only won the IPL, I played 16 matches, tick. I scored 660 runs, tick. I scored 550+ scores, tick, and I ended up becoming the first cricketer to win the Orange Cap and the IPL in the first season. I can tell you one thing from experience, and this is a lived experience, that high performance isn't a destination. Like success isn't a destination, high performance is a journey. It's one that you invest yourself into with intention and integrity. And when you do that, you meet fulfillment. And I can tell you, I wrote this as a 25-year-old. I've lived like this ever since. And today, when I work with athletes, when I work with entrepreneurs, when we set them these processes, things seem overwhelming for them at the start. The goals scare them. But when you break them down into processes, when you make them understand what integrity is based on their values and principles by which they live their life, they feel things becoming so simple. So in life, if high performance is what you're seeking for, this is something that I hope will come to use for you all. Thank you very much for your time.